All right. Hey all, welcome to this session. My name is Ritesh, and in this session, we are going to cover Elastic Compute Cloud, which is also known as EC2. So, first of all, what is EC2? EC2 is a web service which is given by AWS, where you can create your virtual servers. So, primarily, this service is used for virtual servers. When I say virtual servers, you can use those virtual servers for website hosting. You can use those web servers for data analytics, or you can host your database. Multiple things you can do with that EC2 or virtual machine. So basically, what happens in the background? So when you say, I want to create one EC2, what AWS is doing in their background, let's suppose this is their data center. This is their data center. Inside this data center, they have a physical server. They have a physical server. On top of this physical server, they are going to create a VM for you, which is going to be a virtual machine, right? Multiple VMs they are going to create. So how they are doing it? They are doing it with one of the tool which is they are using in a background, which is hypervisor tool. So hypervisor is virtualization tool. Using this virtualization tool, they are creating VMs for you. One of the customer can come and say, hey, I want to create 16 GB of RAM machine and I am looking for 4 CPU core. Another customer is coming and requesting for different configuration, let's suppose 64 GB of RAM and looking for 8 CPU core. So AWS is doing the same using virtualization. This is a software name which is hypervisor. They are creating multiple VMs on top of physical server, and this is called EC2, which is Elastic Compute Cloud. It's a web service provided by AWS that let you run your virtual servers. So what are the key capabilities? When it comes to EC2, you can create Windows-based instance, Linux-based instance, Mac OS, Ubuntu, all operating systems are possible. You can choose instance type based on your need. Example, how much CPU you need, how much memory you need, and how much storage you need. And based on that, you can create your EC2 instance. Instance is nothing but just a virtual machine. So you can scale up, scale down based on traffic or the usage, and you only going to pay for the amount of time that you're going to use that EC2. For example, if you need that EC2 for 1 month, after 1 month, you're going to terminate that EC2. You do not have to pay bills for that. That's the beauty of it. Pay only for what you use. These are a couple of the features that we have in EC2. Like I said, it's a scalable. When I say scalable, today you need different capacity. After some time, you need different capacity. You can do that. You can keep switching to different capacity in virtual servers. There are wide variety of instance type options available. I will share one of the link in this video description as well, where you can go to Amazon EC2 instance family, where they have given list of instances available. More than 400, in fact 500 plus servers categories are available, where configurations like compute, memory, RAM would be different in every machine. That comes with on demand with anytime you can spin up the instance and you have to pay it accordingly. Or there is a category called reserves, support, and saving plans, where AWS gives you discount based on the amount, based on the commitment that you are going to give. For example, if you say, hey, AWS, I want to use it for 1 year, AWS gives you discount. If you say, I am going to use it for 3 years continuously, then AWS gives you more discount. So you can go through the pricing of EC2 to check more details on this. It has a support for auto scaling for elasticity. Auto scaling is something that you can take the example of any retail app. When demand is going high, automatically resources are going to add in a backend. And when demand is going low, then automatically resources will start deleting. That's what will happen with auto scaling. We have a dedicated session on auto scaling to cover, and that gives you high availability as well. So that EC2 you can integrate with load balancer. Also, I'm going to create a couple of videos on load balancer. This is ideal for running applications, websites, containers, data analytics works. and etc. etc. So there are n number of purpose we use this for virtual servers in the industry. How Amazon EC2 works. The very first thing, you have to launch your EC2 instance with your required configuration. Once your EC2 instance is ready, you can connect to your instance and then you can start using your instance. When you're going to create your EC2 instance, these are the things you need to learn about. First of all, names and tags, application and OS image, instance types, key pair, network and security, storage, scripts and metadata. All these things we are going to do in a practical as well. Since it's a first video, I'm just going with basics of it. First of all comes what is tags or names. Tags is nothing, but it's just a way, or you can say adding a filter, right? This is basically these EC2 tags are going to add just like a names. Based on these names, later on, I can search, I can modify. For example, I am going to use multiple resources of AWS in my project. Based on these tags, I can pull up the report in the later on. I can pull up the report and I can see how much cost are associated with these EC2 instances. And based on these EC2 tags, even we can control who can access my EC2. For example, I have two VMs. This is VM1 and this is VM02. This VM is used in production and this VM is used in development. In that case, I want to give limited access. If it is related to development tag, then I need to give stop access as well and restart access as well. But this VM is related to production. I will not give restart and stop access. So that's how you can use those tags to implement a condition also. At the end, you can use these tags for automation as well. For example, we have AWS Lambda or auto scaling that act based on these tags. Don't worry if you are just overwhelmed with this a lot of information as of now. We are going to do a lot of practicals. I'm going to prepare video on almost every point that I'm discussing here. Next is AMI. What is AMI? It's a very fancy keyword, Amazon Machine Image. Amazon Machine Image is a pre-configured template that we use to launch EC2. For an example, when you're going to buy a laptop, simple, right? When you're going to buy a laptop, you say, hey, I'm looking for Windows operating system. I'm looking for Linux operating system, right? So when you're going to create a server in AWS, you need to tell which operating system and software that you are going to use, and that you have to tell using Amazon Machine Image. Using Amazon Machine Image, you can define configuration of your operating system, what softwares you will be needing, and even you can create your custom AMI. Instance type, like I said, there are more than 500 instance type options available in AWS because every customer has different needs. So based on number of virtual CPU and amount of RAM, AWS has given a category like this. General purpose. The meaning of general purpose is these instances are designed for a range of workload and balance of computing. So here you can say balance of computing, memory, and network. So for example, here series is T3.micro, T4G.small, right? Then we have compute optimized. Compute optimized we use for high performing processors. For compute type, we have C6A dot large, C7 dot X large. Basically here C is a, you can say 6A, which is sixth generation. Basically you can consider like this. So this is fourth generation, right? Sixth generation like this. And then we have t-shirt size. This is large, large, extra large, right? Then we have memory optimized where memory intensive apps, if you have to run like databases, you will use memory optimized. Again, I'm saying I'm going to add one link in a description of the video so that you can refer, because there's no need to remember all these information. The only thing is you need to see category, general purpose, compute optimized, memory optimized, right? Because with the passage of time, these example types will be changing. Then we have GPU types, which is going to be used for machine learning, gaming, high-end graphics. Then storage optimized, which is high for high IOPS or throughput. Then you have examples here, I for I dot large. Then we have EC2 key pair. EC2 key pair is a way to connect with your EC2 instance. The moment you are going to create your EC2 instance, AWS is going to create two keys. One is public key, public key, and one is going to be private key. Private key AWS will give to you. You means you are a customer. They will give it to customer, and public key they will retain on a EC2 instance. Later on, when you are saying I want to connect with this instance, AWS will ask you, let's prove your identity that you are a real customer of this machine. Then you have to pass this private key to this EC2 instance. I will let you know how. Then AWS is going to give you password. This is the role of EC2 key pair. Networking. When you're going to create a EC2, you will require networking as well, because whenever you create any machine, network is compulsory. However, we have the option to go with default network as well. If you do not know anything about network, when we create our first EC2 instance, generally we go with default network. But this is always a recommendation that you choose your own network. In that case, you can choose your own VPC. I will show you how you can choose your VPC. You can choose your public subnet. Sorry, you can choose your subnet. Then you can choose whether you need a public IP for this machine or not. If you're aligning public IP for this machine, that is going to be accessed over the internet. But if you're not giving public IP, that machine will only be available within a network, right? So then only you need a private IP, which is going to be internal IP used for VPC communication. Next is storage. When you buy a laptop, you get a storage with that. Similarly, when you are going to create a server, you need a storage along with that. And when it comes to storage, there are two type of options available in AWS. One is that you are going to create a basically when you're going to create a machine, one drive automatically will be created that will be considered as root volume. Root volume is the volume where your operating system will be installed. Operating system will be installed, which contains the operating system and boot files. These root volume can be deleted on a termination, and this is the default setting. The moment you are going to delete your VM, this root volume always deleted automatically. Another is additional volume. Volume means drive, you can say. In my system, I have a C drive, D drive, E drive, F drive, right? Those are additional volumes apart from operating system volume. That additional volume can be used for app data, can be used for logs, can be used for analytics, can be used for some sort of storage, right? But the point is, this is expanded storage. This can be attached, this can be detached. It's just like a pen drive. You can attach, you can detach. It's plug and play. So that is called as data disk, or you can say data disk, or you can say additional volumes. Both are same. Scripts and metadata. When say scripts and metadata, when you are going to enter in EC2, let's imagine you are a developer and you want to read something about that EC2 only. In that case, you will be using EC2 instance metadata. So EC2 provides metadata, and metadata is the information about the instance itself, like instance ID, AMI ID. You want to check the public IP address. You want to read about security group. You want to know availability zone. You want to see IAM role that is assigned to instance. Like this, there's a lot of information which is related to instance, but this is primarily going to help when you are going to log in EC2, right? The moment you create a EC2 from the AWS management console, you can see everything. But this information, EC2 instance metadata, can help you once you enter in the EC2. And imagine you do not have access on AWS management console, but you can enter in EC2. Later on, you can find out the information using this metadata. Then comes user data. What is user data? User data is a script that you can execute when your EC2 instance is going to initialize for the first time. When your instance is going to initialize for the first time, you can execute your script. For an example, I want to create one EC2 instance. The moment my EC2 instance is created, I want to install .NET. I want to install Java, and I want to install MySQL on top of this machine. So instead of doing it manually, I will be writing one script. In that script, I will be writing the code of the .NET Java and MySQL, and those scripts will be executed the moment my machine is up and running. The first thing, these softwares will be installed. So you can see that this example, I've added one example as well, which is going to add HTTPD, which is Apache Web Server. So using this command, we are going to install Apache Web Server on a Linux based machine. So here I'm saying bin bash yum update -y yum install -y httpd. Httpd is Apache Web Server and systemctl start httpd. So that's how you can run your user data script. All these things I'm discussing here, I'm going to prepare videos one by one on top of it. Next is security group. What is security group? Security group is you can say combination of inbound rule and outbound rule. So inbound rule is what traffic can come into your EC2 instance. Inbound rule. In our computer, we have a port starting from 0 to 65535. So what port you need to open? For example, in our case, in SSH case, let's say SSH work on port 22, right? So I'm going to allow SSH port 22 from our IP. That is one of the inbound rule. Allow port 80 from anywhere because our internet works on HTTP and HTTPS, and this HTTP works on port 80. I want to access my website to anyone, so I'm going to open port 82 anywhere. Allow RDP, which is remote desktop connection or remote desktop protocol, which is going to work on 3389. So I'm going to allow from anywhere or my IP. So that's how we can add a security group. Security group is what traffic can come to my instance, and outbound rule is what traffic can go out from my machine. So by default, when you are going to create a EC2 instance, by default, there would be no inbound rule allowed. Inbound rule not allowed by default, not allowed. However, in outbound rules, all outbound rules will be allowed by default. By default, all outbound rules allowed until restricted. That's it. That is what I have given just information about EC2. Now, in a coming videos, I am going to dig down in every topic like security groups, disk. I'm going to create a virtual network. I'm going to prepare lot of materials on AWS, Azure, GCP as well. So I request all of you to like this video if you like it. Please like it and share with your friends. And please explore my channel for more cloud videos. Thank you so much for listening me. I hope you like this content. Thank you so much, everyone.